Hello, TJ here. We've had a chance to take a look at some of the new things Monster Hunter Sunbreak has to offer, and it's looking like a ton of fun. Here are some of the details that we found about Monster Hunter Sunbreak. For starters, we've seen a bit of the new Endemic Life being introduced to the game, and it's nice to see more of it in action. It's fun to see that the Clutch Claw makes its appearance with the Marionette Spider. But this time, I feel like there's a bit more extra strategy you can apply to it with the new Endemic Life, like the Starburst bugs. You'll be able to see these bugs scattered on various walls, and if you hit them, they detonate and make an explosion. Kinda like the pine crabs. And it's good to see that we'll be able to use the Marionette Spider to bait monsters into this offensive Endemic Life, as well as just hitting them on walls for extra stun time. We also got a chance to see the new morphed wire bug variants. Ultimately, these don't really change the gameplay in any way, but it is nice to see just how much more mounted damage you can do, and the bonus drops is nice too. But moving away from the Endemic Life, we have probably the biggest focal point. The switch skill swap. We already know that these are meant to be customizable stances, if you will. We got a really good chance to look at them in action, as well as how simple it is to customize them. Customizing these switch sets is just like swapping them before. We have a menu that shows 3 different skills that you can choose and then swap out with other skills in its place. The difference here being is that we select which stance we want, and then we have 5 different skills we can choose from. And we get to see a bit of this customization in action with the light bowgun, being able to pick and choose what skills we want and which ones we don't, leaving you with the option to really choose what you want. If you want your 2 styles to be completely different, maybe a high mobility versus high damage version, or if you just want to leave them the same and keep the gameplay simple while utilizing the evade. And speaking of the evasion skill, it looks amazing, acting as not only a good way to get out of the switch animation, but also a great repositioning tool in case you need to get away or into the fight. Honestly, one might even say too good. You might want to get your evasion sets ready. Let's take a look at the new switch skills themselves. Like we saw from the skill swaps, we not only have more skills to swap out, but more functions to swap out, with the light bowgun showing 2 more types of things that can be swapped. Unfortunately, we aren't able to see every skill, but we can see that there are a lot of options present. We see the new switch skill, Critical Firepower. This is a passive skill that increases your damage, but it decreases the size of your critical range while also increasing your recoil. The other new switch skill we get to see is the Wyvern counter. This is a wire bug attack that fires a blast while vaulting backwards, and it shows a great way to stay in close without leaving you to be a sitting duck. Sounds like a pretty good pairing for the other new skill if you ask me. And lastly, we are able to see one of the new follower collab quests. In the one we see, the hunter's out hunting with Master Arlo, and we really get a chance to kind of feel out how these AI work. Primarily, they seem to function a lot like your Palicos and Palamutes, in the sense that they take your lead during missions. They'll stick with you during the hunt, rather than beeline it straight to the monster. And if you happen to cart, they also follow you back there too. I wasn't able to see what happens when their health drops, but I can't imagine they take your carts. They're also able to perform the same actions as other players, being able to wyvern ride as well as use support items during a fight. And they tend to talk to you a lot during the mission. It leaves me to wonder just how in-depth they'll go with this system, as it leaves room for more in-depth storytelling involving these NPCs playing as on-screen roles rather than cheering from the sidelines like they usually do. Those are some new details we learned from Monster Hunter Sunbreak. I'm excited to hop into G rank and see what new challenges await me, but what about you? Feel free to comment down below if you're excited to play Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak and if there's anything you're itching to see. If you're interested in more on Monster Hunter and or other things gaming, feel free to subscribe to GameXplain for more. Until next time, take care!